The Democratic Party has reached an all-time low in favorability in the latest national NBC News poll. Just over a quarter of registered voters say they have positive things to say about the party, which is the party's lowest positive rating since 1990. Also, about 44% of other registered voters say that the U.S. is actually headed in the right direction more than any point since 2004. And while that's happening, President Trump is enjoying some of his highest approval ratings during his second term. And everything is truly starting to show inside of the ratings. In this video, we're going to break down Trump's current approval rating and why Democrats are so low. So make sure you watch the whole thing to the end so that you don't miss anything. First, let's take a look at CNN breaking down the numbers and see exactly where the numbers are currently at with the ratings.
Welcome Inside Politics Sunday. I'm Manu Raji. First up this morning, a brand new exclusive CNN poll that paints a brutal reality for Democrats as they struggle to mount a unified opposition to President Trump. Americans' favorable views of the Democratic Party's brand are at a record low, just 29%. That's compared to 36% for Republicans. It is the lowest ever recorded for Democrats in CNN polling going back more than 30 years. As you can see, the party's numbers dropping a staggering 20 points in just 4 years. The CNN SRSR's poll also found 57% of Democrats and Democratic-leaning voters are more interested in seeing their party leaders stop the GOP agenda, compared to 42% who are more interested in cutting bipartisan deals. It is a big shift from where the party stood at the start of Trump's first term in 2017. Now, this survey was taken before this week's tumultuous battle over funding the government, which resulted in one of the ugliest intra-party Democratic disputes in years, and left many in the party lobbing furious attacks at Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer. Now, a bitter round of finger-pointing is taking shape after Democrats failed to get a single concession from the GOP, despite having their first piece of leverage to fight back against Trump. Now the big question, where does a party in deepening turmoil and in open warfare go from here?
In that clip from the CNN reporter, he reinstates that the Democratic polling numbers are super low, the lowest they've ever been. He even mentioned that in the recent 4 years have passed, they dropped 20 points, and that most people who are Democrats, they want to see them stop the GOP agenda. With that also being the case, he also mentioned Chuck Schumer's decision to vote with them to pass the bill. And he said now the Democratic Party is bitter and just pointing fingers at everyone because they're losing all of their leveraging pieces. And he's not lying. They are losing all of their leverage. Now, let's see this CNN data reporter break down a different aspect of the ratings. Take a look at this.
I'm a big fan of the oldies, and when it comes to the feelings that Americans, voters at large, and Democrats have, I can't help but think of Chubby Checker. Why is that? Because the question is, how low can you go? Voters' views of Democrats in Congress, the lowest ever approval ratings on record per Quinnipiac University. Look at this. Approve 21% among all voters. Look at the disapprove level. Holy Toledo, 68% of all voters disapprove of how Democrats are doing in Congress. Now, you might think that is low, and this is the lowest number on your screen here, down at 21%. But I want to bring you over here to how Democratic voters feel, because this is truly unbelievable. Amongst their own party, how do Democratic representatives, senators, how are they viewed? Get this, the plurality disapprove at 49%. More Democrats disapprove of the job that their party is doing in Congress than approve. Get this, only 40% approve. These are truly horrific numbers. They are in the trash bin of history. That is how low these approval ratings are. When you can't even get plurality approval among your own party, you know you're doing something wrong.
In that clip from the different CNN reporter breaking down the numbers, mostly the percentages, he shows the views of Democrats in Congress. What are the voters saying about it? And through all voters, it's a high number. 68 disapprove, with only 21% of all voters approving. But then he breaks down to the real important part. The Democrats' approval of themselves. 49% of Democrats disapprove of how the Democrats are doing in Congress, with only 40% approving. To see those numbers right there, something is happening that needs to be fixed. Next, I want to look at this MBS reporter break down the polls and see if there are any significant differences. Let's watch this.
Numbers here for Democrats, 27% positive, more than double 55% negative. And we'll just put this on a graph for you in our poll here. This goes back a long ways, and you can see the trend line for both parties. This is what's happened to the Democrats since the election.
That is astonishing, Steve. That's an historic low, right?
That is in more than 30 years of this poll. We've never seen either party hit a number this low in terms of negatives. Let's just start with Trump himself, that 47% job approval rating. Two ways of looking at this. First of all, if you compare Trump to every recent president, this point after coming into office, Trump's number here is the lowest, significantly the lowest of any of his modern predecessors, except Donald Trump in his first term. He was at 40% at this point in 2017. So this for Trump is actually better at 47% than he's done. And what that reflects is it's not that he's built a lot of new popularity since the election, but that coalition that elected him, you're not seeing that disappear from him, at least yet. And there's some things driving that. First of all, the mood of the country. This really jumped out. We ask folks, is it on the right direction or the wrong direction? That 44%, you say right direction, that's up since November. And if that doesn't seem like a lot, the last time it cracked 40%, you got to go back to 2012. The last time it actually hit 44 or higher, January of 2004. So a lot of this is Republicans, but independents, that number is also up since the election on the direction of the country. Also, just Trump and his base, we monitor this. Among Republicans, look at this, basically 3 out of 4 Republicans say it's a very positive view they have of Trump, not just positive. Again, at this point in his first term, it was only 50. It's just the strengthening of that base, the tightness they feel in terms of their connection with him. And then there's the Trump agenda. There are some popular elements of it here. Handling of border security and the immigration issue. 55% approval.
Taking a look at the polling ratings from the NBC reporter, we can see that a lot has changed. He presented that Trump, compared to his first term, his approval rating was 40%. But now, during his second, it's at 47%. So he's doing significantly better for himself this time around. And then they also asked American voters, which direction do you think the country is going in? The right direction or the wrong one? 44% said that we're going in the right direction, compared to 54% saying we're going in the wrong direction. And despite majority of them being Republicans, he said, those are still high numbers. So that right there lets us know that there are a lot of American citizens who are approving of how the world is going right now. They are okay with everything that is happening. It seems to me that President Trump administration have done a much better job of building that foundation with American citizens this time around. It feels like everyone is more supportive of him now. They actually know him and they know the goals he's presenting and they are supporting it. They want the same goals to happen too. Lastly, I want all of you to read a tweet from Devory Darkins, who is also a YouTuber. In the tweet, he wrote, "The facts don't lie. Democrats are losing, and President Trump is winning. Record low approval, infighting, and no vision how they can ever stop President Trump. They have no leadership, no unity, no solutions for the American people. Their entire party is built on stopping Trump. This is the hill they will die on for sure." With that being said, I'm going to leave it right there. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. How do you feel about the polls? Did you vote? What's your opinion? What is your approval rating of them? I'll see you next time on KW Lawholic.